and roll. Let's go to the threes. What do mature threes look like?
So my language always about threes has been that because of that uneasiness within and the reluctance to look inward, the people piece that they carry naturally, being able to connect with people in a low functioning space can be very dangerous. And in all the ways that in the low space it can be dangerous, in the high space, I believe that only threes can truly inspire when it comes to reaching a common goal and getting the energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's that doing processing that's grounded in a people awareness.
Yeah.
And that's very cool to see.
Threes fold in the piece of reading other people. They fold in, here's what you need to hear to be inspired about this. Not just it's going to be fun, but you need to know this is why this is going to be great.
Yep.
I want to pair that with threes when mature, often just strike me as highly competent. And that is paired with what I would want to call the assassin ability. You give them any job and they're going to put on the scope and just pinpoint, knock the job out. Competence and just the ability to execute is unlike, it seems to me, any of the other numbers. And oftentimes the energy there when you're engaged with a three who's mature and you have a good relationship, it's because they actually care about you at some level. And all of that wrapped together, it's just like, this person's amazing, which is exactly what they want you to think about this, about them.
Yeah. It's inspiring. I think one of the things that I brought up in one of our previous podcasts is because threes don't stay in, they don't start out in that doing space, Jeff, like you and I do. They join us there. You and I, as a 1 and an 8, we have standards for doing that threes don't have. That's probably the low side, but the high side, I believe, or the only truly successful multitasker is a 3.
Yeah.
Right. The energy strikes me as different. Like, I think shame works for the heart triad in this space. Only, let me just use it as an example. I feel like threes are outrunning something and they're going to execute at that high level because they're never going to experience the relational disconnect and embarrassment that they did when they were 9. But today it's getting done and I'm going to look amazing. But very different motive for why you would want to achieve the thing.
There's an upside, especially in business in corporate America, to don't just do it, but look good doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that matters. What other people see, how other people take you in matters. It goes hand in hand with motivation, obviously.
Yep.
In order for someone to be inspired, in order for someone to be motivated to do something they probably thought was outside of their ability, you got to connect with them on some level. That's where I fail as an 8 leader. I'm not wired to join the group I lead.
So the 3 has a card to play, which is really strange. I don't know if 8s can play this card all the time. And it is the vulnerability card. They won't tell you anything about what's happened in the last 2 years. But let me tell you about how I failed 5 years ago. And then I rebuilt my life, and it was because I was amazing, awesome. And look at these biceps,
Sure.
And they get to that spot. And it seems
so there is
to
a
me,
connecting piece there.
Yeah.
That's a card 8s don't play. You're right.
Yep.
But the connection that 3s have may not be authentic in the way that, like, it may appear as though the 3 is really understanding your pain and struggles, and maybe they're like really healthy 3s may get there. I don't want to, for very healthy 3s, maybe they do get there, but you can't discount the performative aspect. because they have the future in mind in terms of this is the person I'm speaking to. And we're not sticking here in your emotions. We're going over there because it's awesome. And I'm gonna get you there, kind of thing.
I see that as the superpower. So when
Yeah.
I teach
Yep.
threes, the non-negotiable that I teach, it doesn't happen with any other type, is threes are wired to disconnect from any negative emotion.
Yep.
Part one. Part two, put a more positive front out to the world. Like fives are neutral. They can disconnect from any emotion, but what they're putting out to the world isn't necessarily positive. What a superpower to say, despite what's happening, not only am I not going to get wrapped up in it or caught up in it, but I'm going to put a face on. I've got the best poker face. The positive, we can do this. I think it's what catapults them to leadership a lot, because when things are going bad, you've got someone moving in the right direction with all the confidence, and they got a poker face that I don't have as a Nate. If I tried, I couldn't if I tried. Yeah.
If they are a healthy person with healthy goals, and that's a massive if that needs to be underlined 12 times.
Yeah.
Reframing is one of the best things out there. Threes and sevens who can engage that gear, man, we are gonna drown without y'all.
The positive spin. It's fascinating.
Well,
it's a real gift.
Like it's fascinating to me that we can't think of a reasonable incompetent three, right? Like I've been trying to find one for a long time. Like, is this person a three, but they're just incompetent? Is that why they don't look like a three? No, because the positive reframing, the ability to keep moving, the whole like this aspect of relationally understanding success is not necessarily about being the best, but about looking the best. There's just no such thing as an incompetent three, because they have adapted themselves to appear successful in all of their circles. And even as like interpersonal relationships, like the ability to move the relationship forward, like threes just are moving.
And commonly, people will associate themselves with animals. The only animal that my wife has ever related herself to is a shark, which swims even when it's sleeping.
There you go. I love that.
That element of, and this is a gift at some level for the rest of us. Is like stagnant water is poisonous, and there can be something that is good for the rest of us. The addiction to, yes, but let's keep this pace up, as it were.
There's so many similarities to threes and eights, how we outwardly look to the world, right? We're both assertive stance, we're both, or independent stance, we're both processing with action, all these things. The self-confidence is high. I think one of the three's core strengths lies in a major difference in the self-confidence. As an eight, my self-confidence, because of my intensity and my lack of people awareness, is intimidating. The self-confidence of a three is engaging.
It's
inspiring.
It's
different goals.
Three
wants to win the person in front of them, and that's the difference. Just a recent, my wife said, even when firing somebody, they want the person that they're firing to believe that they are the best person they've ever met. That's the way that they come to the world.
Tell her that TJ is always gonna edge her out of that one. I think.
No, TJ doesn't fire people,
but when he does,
no, it doesn't happen.
Hey, it happened once.
My husband was a principal at an elementary school in Oak Cliff for 8 years, early in his career, like he was young. And in 8 years, a principal of a charter school in Oak Cliff. And he had to fire in 8 years, he had to fire some people. Every person, to the person, hugged him.
But
Only a
I
9
love it.
can like hand you your box and you're like, you're juggling it and saying you're not getting it done. And you just say, thank you. Like, thank you. It's a man, talk about a superpower that you don't use because you at the conflict, but
It's true. It's true.
Different dominant instinct, I imagine.
Mhm. Well, and I'm glad we're bringing up 9 because I'm starting to see in a whole new way it reveal itself over and over again. You know, when I'm teaching in a space where people have not been given the Enneagram, they're not familiar. Uh, it's a given that the 6s are going to have the hardest time landing on type. But what I consistently see is 3s, 6s, and 9s see themselves in every type, in most types. They connect with something in every type.
Mhm.
And I think it's part of being the center point of every triad, the part of not staying in your home base to process that consistent movement through the centers. That means you have these 3 types more than any other type has this relational piece. It's like you can connect with someone with more ease somehow. I don't know what y'all think about that, but there's something to that.
Place I would go into just to spin it back to 3s, the 3, 6s, and 9s all create spaces in order to connect with other people. The 6s create safe spaces, 9s create harmonious spaces. The 3s, and here's the superpower, we're going to win together. It's
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the you and me are the 9s will amalgamate with others and see their success as their own success and really internally own it. If you get a fantastic promotion, the 3 feels that in terms of what they contributed to your world. And so there's a whole laundry list of inspirational speakers and people who take on that role who are 3s. And I think that, like, not only are they standing on the stage, but it becomes I want to elevate everybody, because what that actually says is that I have the ability to inspire, empower, and I vicariously experience the joy and success of everybody else.
And I think there's a level, what I say when I teach 2s, 3s, and 4s, I say, if you've got this uneasiness within and this natural focus on people, this natural EQ and people awareness that you're bringing to the table because of the heart triad, I believe comparison ends up being, we've talked about it, that fueling piece. And it can become competitive for 2s and 4s, but it starts competitive with 3s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to move into, unknown or uncharted territory, to have this 3 that's like, let's be first, let's be best, let's be competitive. That's an energy I think people get behind.
Mhm. Yeah.
And noticing in the intelligence center, it's going to be very relational and emotional. The delivery is going to be about the the relational connection.
Yeah.
And the ambitions the 3 has, we're going to win the football state championship, feels like it's this accomplishment that's out there. We're going to build it and knock it out. No, it's about us, is what the 3 is thinking. And we're going to have the glory of the experience collectively. Last word to teach.
I'm just thinking a lot about like 3s in contrast to 9s. Like we've talked about this a lot, but 9s are not in general concerned about winning. Like the idea, and this is true for a lot of types, but there's just not a sense of comparison that 9s carry around with them, because we see both sides. Like, that's just all the time. But when I have a 3 next to me who does have that comparison filter and is saying, like, there is something in the 3 that says I have to be better than that person. And that does not exist in me as a 9. And especially as a business owner, I need someone next to me saying, this is what you need to do to show other people that you are better than this other person, this other shop or whatever. Like there is a comparison aspect to how we navigate the world around us. And it is so crucial in some spaces for 3s to bring that to the rest of us, because like 9s, I just don't have it in me. And I need 3s to remind me, oh, yeah, this is a comparison game, because that's how people spend their money.
Don't just do it. Do it
Yep.
better than everyone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparison is such a negative as I think about the word. And that's a fantastic positive spin
Mhm.
on it in terms of where we need 3s in our lives.